Welcome back. Prime Minister Vorenke Bainimarama will this hour launch the Fiji Rugby Union Centennial Jersey. This will be FRU's biggest fundraising drive for this year. But only a limited edition of 200 Centennial jerseys will be on sale to both individuals as well as business houses and large corporates. FRU is targeting to raise at least $1 million from this function. It is likely that they will also announce some of their bigger plans for the coming season during this launch. And former Fiji Sevens captain Veroniki Ngoneva scored a last-minute try to help keep Leicester Tigers' hopes of topping Pool 5 alive as they sneak past Montpellier 15 points to 14 early this morning. Despite finishing 0-0 in the first half, it was Montpellier that dominated the game in the second half. The Tigers were down 14 points to 8 when Ngoneva crossed for the winning try with time almost up. The win has kept Leicester Tigers' hope of topping their pool alive. Nadrunga Rugby is already preparing for the 2014 season. All players interested in being part of the Nadrunga Under-20 development squad for next year have been asked to report to Lawanga Park at 8 a.m. this Wednesday. This is also for registration, which will be followed by a fitness test. Interested players have been requested to bring along their original birth certificates and training gear. Meanwhile, the Fairbrother and Digicel Cup holders will also be holding their annual awards night later this week. This will be held at the Outrigger on the Lagoon Resort on the Coral Coast. Nadrunga's awards night is scheduled for this Friday starting at 6:30 p.m. And in response to a request by the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, flags at the Fiji Olympic House have been flown at half-mast. This is in memory of former South African President Nelson Mandela. The IOC president had called on all 204 national Olympic committees around the world to honor Nelson Mandela by flying their flags at half-mast on the day of his funeral. Mandela has been described by the international sporting body as a great friend of sport and a hero of humanity. Fasanok says while Fiji may be far from South Africa, the thoughts of our sporting fraternity are with their colleagues at the South African Olympic Committee. And New Zealand heavyweight boxer Shane Cameron's heavyweight career is over. That's after Brian Minto stopped him on Saturday night. The contest loomed as a career-defining clash for both boxers, and while Cameron's future looks bleak, Minto is set to enjoy an unexpected demand in New Zealand with a limited number of heavyweight boxers in his division.
A feeling of satisfaction today for American Brian Minto.
It worked out for me last night, and I just really wasn't going to let this opportunity slip away.
Minto has all but ended the professional career of Shane Cameron. 36-year-old Kiwi wanted to box on last night, but his corner and officials called it off, ruling a TKO after the 7th round. Cameron took too many close-range shots, opening up head cuts and probably closing his career.
I'm not making any decisions at the moment. I just want to have a good Christmas. I've got a baby coming 12th of January, so I'm just focusing on that.
He's got himself a business. He's set up. For me, if I was Shane Cameron, I'll be looking at going, you know what, I've had a good time. Maybe it's time to move on.
The irony is the man who signed Cameron as a pro more than a decade ago has now helped finish him.
I feel a little sad for Shane. But I feel very happy for Brian. Brian's a family man. He works very hard. He's been in the game as long as Shane.
Barry trained Minto ahead of last night's fight, with the American now set to fight Barry's other charge, Joseph Parker, later next year. Parker returns to the ring in March.
I made it no secret that I wanted Joseph to fight Shane Cameron. Shane looks like he may be off the table now.
Aussie League star Paul Gallen kept his unbeaten record with a majority points decision against All Blacks loose forward Liam Messam in the Fight for Life boxing at Trust Stadium in West Auckland. Gallen was making his second Fight for Life appearance in a year after beating Chiefs and All Blacks hooker Hika Elliott with an unanimous points decision last year. Gallen worked the body well to dominate the first round, but Messam upped his game in the second round.
These guys go. You don't see better professional boxing in the heavyweight division than this. I'm talking about the big heavyweight division. Closing seconds now of the fight. He's got him on the ropes.
Manchester United has avoided a third Premier League defeat in a row by defeating Aston Villa 3-0. Danny Welbeck scored twice in the space of 3 minutes as Aston Villa struggled to cope with the visitors. England striker Wayne Rooney set up Tom cleverly to drive in a third. The Red Devils are still 10 points behind top flight leaders Arsenal and 7 points adrift of the top 4, but they made sure they did not lose a third Premier League game in succession for the first time since December 2001. Villa had not beaten United at home since 1995, and that record only ever looked like being extended as they lost for the 5th time in 8 league outings at their Midlands base. And England's worst run in the third Ashes test against Australia still continues. They have now failed to find their form, with Australia likely to take the third test again.
The heat really turned up for England on the afternoon of day 2, finally with a solid opening stand until Michael Carberry played on.
Oh, he's got him! Round the wicket, first ball!
Then just 5 runs later, another Ashes case of did he hit it? Third umpire Kiwi Tony Hill thought yes, England's Joe Root thought not. Even Snicko was inconclusive, but still Root was sent packing. And as the cracks in the Wacker wicket started to show, so did the flighty nature of the England squad. Captain Alistair Cook with a half-century, but with things going along royally in 42-degree heat, the 29-year-old melted down 22 runs later.
Now in the air, it's got him!
Kevin Peterson's shocking shot offering Mitchell Johnson a stunning catch.
Has he got enough on it? No, he hasn't! What a catch!
The remarkable effort rivalling Trent Bolt's sneer against the West Indies. England surviving without further carnage, Christchurch-born Ben Stokes along with Ian Bell taking England to 180 for 4 at stumps. Resuming play today, Bell lasted just 13 minutes before going LBW, then every batsman's worst nightmare.
Oh, that's going off the crack.
Mitchell Johnson finding the cracks and the chinks in England's armour in the same over.
It's nicked!
Stokes gone for 18, Matt Pryor also out cheaply. And the first over with the new ball taking care of Stuart Broad.
Oh, that's full. They want LBW and they've got it.
The English tail picked off with ease, the tourists making a mediocre 251, 134 runs short of Australia.
And that's all from the sports desk. Back to you, Kurt.
Thanks, Drew. Stay with us for world news after the break.